Hi, and welcome to the Greater Truth of a Woman podcast with myself, Lisa Barrett, and we have something exciting to celebrate today. This is our 10th episode, and I'm very excited about my next guest, who is a mother, a very successful businesswoman, and also a woman. I used to be obsessed with her makeup brushes, and I think every other girl in the country was obsessed with them at one time. And she is also the woman behind Happy Face. I welcome Ciara Daly.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So, Ciara, before we get started, I'm going to pop our, mine's is Prosecco alcohol, and yours is none for the 10th episode.
Yeah, sounds good. I like a wee Prosecco. I feel like I'm not missing out then, you know.
And have you always not drunk, Ciara?
No, it's not that I never drink, once in a blue moon, but yeah, the past couple of years, it was like, I just can't do the hangovers. I'm in my 40s now, Lisa, and the hangovers were just killing me, and it was like, it was just too many Sundays that I was lying there going, I just don't want to feel like this anymore. And then there was one night I went out and I went, I'm just going to drive, and then the next night I went out and I'm just going to drive, and then after a few times doing that, I just get used to that.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And like I go out and still enjoy myself and have a dance and whatever's happening, like, so yeah. And then getting up, I like going to do my hot yoga on a Sunday morning.
I know,
because
thank
you so much.
A Sunday you feel is like wasted. Well, I know I feel it's wasted if I don't get out and do something or spend time in nature. But yeah,
so that was it. It just, don't get, maybe once a year, twice a year, the wheels will come off. Cheers.
Yes. Cheers, and thank you so much. So, you're celebrating three years at Happy Fest as well.
Yeah, that was the third year, yeah.
Yeah. So, first of all, let's take you on a wee bit of a journey, Ciara. So, most people know you as Ciara Daly, the face of the makeup brushes, the hero brush. That was my favourite. So, yeah, tell us a wee bit about your makeup journey. And
we're going to be here all day.
Many moons ago.
Well, I've been doing makeup now for nearly 20 years. When I came out of school, I kind of just arsed about for a while, as you do when you're like 18, 19. Did lots of different jobs. I was selling everything from washing machines to sofas to, you know, just going from one sales job to the next. And I was always really good at sales because I can talk. But I was always very artistic at school. So my passion was really in anything kind of artistic. And then I was the friend that you went to, you know, back then before makeup artists were a thing. You know, my friends would, Ciara, I'll do your makeup. I would have done my friends' makeup and stuff like that. For their weddings and whatever in my early 20s. So yeah, there was various different points in that journey. You know, like I remember watching my mum getting ready to go to work, and she went from housewife and mummy to this amazing, confident, glamorous woman. She was a stewardess. So back in the 80s and 90s when it was a thing.
It was a thing that women looked up to, because that's what I always wanted to be as well.
Yeah, so I remember it wasn't even that she looked so different. It was her whole energy changed.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to love when she was going to work, because I knew when she got ready, she was always in a good mood and right and ready to take over the world. And I think when I look back now, it was moments like that really helped shape me. And then going to get my makeup done by a Mac makeup artist, you know, when Mac first came to Belfast in the early noughties, and just being absolutely blown away with how I felt seeing myself when I had my makeup done professionally. So all these little dots, and then tragically my mum died very suddenly.
Oh, Ciara.
She died of a brain hemorrhage when she was only 48.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it was very, very tragic. I've talked about it a lot in other podcasts, but again, another part of life that just shifted.
Yeah.
So I took a bit of inheritance that my mum left, and I went and trained as a makeup artist. So yeah, it's like 18, 19 years ago now. So I was doing makeup and different bits and bobs, doing weddings and photo shoots, stuff like that, getting booked for that. But then, I got married, I had my 2 kids.
Yeah.
So that all happened in quick succession in my late 20s. But then my marriage ended very suddenly. So that was another big dot when you look, joining your dots in all your life. And so there was 30, 2 wee babies. It was recession. Things were tough. And I had absolutely not a pot to piss in. So that was when I opened my makeup academy. So that was July 2009. So 15 years this year.
Wow. And what a business it is. I mean, even I remember the first time I bought the Hero brush. It was actually from my ex-sister-in-law's beauty studio, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And even back then, like, social media wasn't really a massive thing. So I mean, you did have mega success through your own makeup, and I know anybody that ever did my makeup inspired to be you, or inspired to. Yeah, so
it's amazing when
someone
says something like that, you're like, wow. Really?
It is, but it's amazing to have you sitting here. So I'm very humbled to have you sitting here.
Thank you. You saying about social media, I mean, it's so hard, because obviously I'm still teaching courses, and I try to explain to them what it took back then to try and build a business before Instagram, social media. Like, it's hard they can't wrap their head around me saying, yeah, you used to have to put like an advert in the newspaper or a magazine, and I remember not having the money to put an advert in the newspaper or magazine, and it was like, well, how else can I get business? And literally, like, putting my 2 kids in my wee shitty car into their baby seats and driving around salons and beauticians and wedding shop type bridal shops, and just going in with business cards and leaflets and being like, hiya, my name's Ciara Daly, I'm a makeup artist, or
wow.
Hiya, like literally, and it was, I guess it was that grit and determination, my sister, who had started her own business, I remember her stopping people. I've talked about this as well, stopping people with leaflets. She does baby swimming lessons. And I remember feeling really embarrassed because she was stopping people in Mothercare, or we were out having a coffee somewhere, and she was like, hiya, I'm starting a new swimming for babies. Can I give you? And I was like, you are mortifying me. Like, will you leave them girls? Anytime she seen a bump or a buggy, she was over.
Yeah.
But she just looked at me this day and she just went, are you going to do it for me? Are you going to get me the business? Because no one's coming along here to do this for me.
Yeah. And
I remember just these moments and these things that said, it just really hit different that day. And I went, wow, that's what it takes. It takes you going out of your comfort zone, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, which is a book that changed my life, and I recommend to all my students ever since.
What's it called, Ciara?
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
I must listen to it.
Oh, Lisa, I'm surprised you haven't heard of that one.
No, I definitely haven't.
Yeah.
I definitely must.
Yeah.
That's so true. If you don't go out there or put yourself out there, and that's what was happening to me as well. I was slightly putting myself out there, doing really well, and then going, shit, my anxiety's killing me here. I just don't know how to cope with my own success. So like, you became quite successful, and I know you've struggled with anxiety. So how did you cope being such a successful businesswoman and with the anxiety? Because I know what way it took over me. It was just like a blanket of dread.
Okay. So was it more anxiety than depression with you, Lisa? Or?
More anxiety than depression with me, I had, yeah.
So I think, like, going back to that book that I was talking about, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, that book made me aware of your somatic feelings. Like, you're going to feel a bit embarrassed, cringy, anxious, all the yucky stuff.
Yeah.
But it's about whether you have more courage than anxiety.
Yes.
More courage than fear. And so even though I had anxiety, I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And it really, really was that book. And, you know, like the words of my sister and the grit and the determination of going, Jesus, I'm absolutely mortified. And the fear of rejection. And especially after my marriage ended so abruptly, my self-esteem was through the floor.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I kind of just tunnel visioned it and was like, I can't let all that noise in, and just did it anyway.
Yeah.
And I understood that even though we get all them feelings of, oh my God, no, I can't. And for many years, lots of my students and even friends will go, but it's all right for you, Ciara, you're confident. I got this. It's all right for you. You're dead strong. You're dead confident. And what I still teach to this day, whether it's makeup or mindset or whatever, you cannot be confident in doing something that you haven't done before. It is impossible.
Yeah.
It is impossible. Like the first time you did a podcast 10 episodes ago, I'm sure you had no confidence doing it.
I know. I still get nervous even before I come on, and then after the first 5 minutes, it just falls away.
Yes. So anything new in life, you are not going to be confident. And I think it's about understanding that.
Yeah.
And understanding that it's not confidence you need, it's courage.
Yeah.
And then now you're 10 episodes in, the confidence is starting to come.
Yeah.
Bit by bit by bit. So the confidence is earned. So you need courage from there to there. You know? But for me, I think that, you know, like we were talking before we started recording there, like you says that your fitness saved your life. My makeup business saved my life. Yeah. It really, really did. After such a traumatic couple of years of really extreme postnatal depression, my mum dying, my marriage ending, a lot, you know, that was a bad few years. To me, I remember going into work and doing makeup or talking to, when I started teaching, like it's so mindful doing makeup because you're painting a picture. Yeah. You know, like people talk about colouring in books for adults. It's like, colour your face in, you know, or paint someone else's face. So I couldn't focus on anything else. And so I got a breather. So I went to work for a break. Do you know, that with having 2 wee babies under the age of 2, it was like, I hop, skipped and jumped into work. Yeah. And I just loved it. And then very early on doing my courses, you know, initially I wanted to do courses because there was no one else in Northern Ireland offering the style of makeup and courses that I wanted to do. Everything that was out there was very, very dated. Yeah. So, and that was really, I was like, I remember thinking, so I went and trained in London because the ones that I trained here with just weren't really cutting it. So I went, trained in London and Manchester. I remember going to Glasgow and Dublin and trying to get to all the cool ones back then and being like, right, well, Belfast needs this. Northern Ireland needs this. And so when I came back, but what was so initially I thought, well, I'm going to help teach girls how to do their makeup. But very quickly on in the courses, I realised one girl who I'm still friends with, actually meeting her for lunch next week, I had opened up a little bit about what I'd been through. You know, when we do the icebreaker at the start of the course, like, hi, my name, what are you here for? What would you like to get out of the course? And I had opened up and says, girls, you know, I've had a really tough year this year. This is me, but I'm so glad that you are here today. And so the girls started opening up. And what became very apparent was it wasn't just about teaching them how to do makeup. Yeah. It was about giving them hope, inspiring them to go after their own dreams. Makeup was just the vehicle. Yeah. You know, you're probably the same with doing your PT, that was that vehicle. And so girls are coming in and they were like, whether it was they were miserable in their job, but they just felt trapped. So I was giving them hope of maybe, you know, looking at a alternative source of income, doing something that they love and they just enjoyed. Yeah. There was other girls who were stay-at-home mums and had just lost themselves and they just were like, I just love getting to spend time with other women and, you know, and do makeup, like it's, and then get paid. So, or there was, you know, and the girl who I'm referring to, she had lost her husband very tragically. They were only married 3 months. He was only 34 and he had died of a brain hemorrhage. And she came in to do my course And at the end of that course, me and her sat in the little room in my tiny studio. And she says, Ciara, I cannot tell you what this course has done for me. She's like, this is the first thing I've wanted to get up out of bed for in a year and a half from she lost her husband. That conversation changed the trajectory of my life, of my business, of what I knew my purpose was.
Yeah.
So the makeup was amazing and great and creative and loved doing it. But it was bringing, obviously, of course there's been men, but obviously more women in the makeup industry. But I understood then, oh my God, my job is to help these women, to inspire them, to connect, to show that we are all only human, and and just to empower each other. Like them girls think that I was inspiring them, but they saved my life any time over. And this is why every time a class comes in, a new course, like I've trained over 2,000 people to be makeup artists.
Amazing.
And it blows my mind.
That is amazing.
But when they come in, I'm like, girls, thank you so much. Like the gratitude, you know, it's just, thank you so much that you're still paying me to listen to me talk shit, like, you know. So it's been an incredible journey. But that was you know, as I keep talking about joining the dots. You know, Steve Jobs in a commemoration speech talks about looking back and joining your dots. That was a major dot. Yeah. Her saying that to me, I went, oh shit. And, you know, meanwhile, back at the ranch, I was already very much into self-development. I was reading the book. I remember getting The Secret on CD and listening to it in the background. You had CDs and books like Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway and Tony Robbins and all that. So I was already on that trajectory of self-development. So, yeah.
Amazing. What a journey.
Yeah.
So, you did suffer from postnatal depression and stuff you'd said as well, and I'd heard you've been to retreats, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yes. So I toyed with the idea of going to a retreat, but I found RTT therapy, and it was kind of what unraveled me, as we were talking about off camera. So what was your aha moment? What did you go, I need to heal. I need to not feel like this anymore.
Okay, so obviously with the postnatal depression, so I used to say to my sister, I don't know if it's my outsides or my insides.
Right.
So I didn't know whether it was my circumstances made me feel the way I was, or whether it was a chemical imbalance, a hormonal imbalance. Yeah. Was it something to do with my physical makeup?
Yeah.
And so this was something that I always battled with, thinking that they were separate or something, you know. And so, you know, my mum had suffered from depression. My granny, my aunt. Okay. You know, my aunt is a nurse practitioner, PhD many times over in the States. And I'd always been fed the line of, it's just a chemical imbalance, you just need to take antidepressants.
Yeah, or it runs in the genes.
Right? So if you're fed that by your close relative who loves you and who is a doctor many times over, you believe that. Yeah. And the narrative back then, 15, 20 years ago, was if you can't understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling, you're just missing a chemical. So you take a tablet until you feel better. And that was just the story that I believed for a long time. So after, as I say, you know, the years went on, my marriage ended, I was working, and I just literally threw myself into work, but I was still feeling very unwell, very, you know, as you say, anxious or depressed, or would have burnt myself out a lot. So I would have went to the GP, took medication, but then went, right, well, I still need to do my other work. I still need to go to therapy. I still need to go to the gym, nutrition. And for years through my 30s, Lisa, building the business, right? Mm-hmm. I call it now as soon as itis. As soon as I get my new studio. Yeah. As soon as I get Christmas over me. As soon as I get the kids into school. As soon as the summer holidays. As soon as I lose a half a stone. Yeah. As soon as I meet someone. As soon as this happens, or as soon as I get on holiday, or as soon as I get a new kitchen, as soon as I get my new car. Then I'll be happy. Then I'll feel better.
Chasing the destination.
Yes, so it's as soon as, you know, it's like chasing the carrot. But then, you know, years of that, I was constantly burning out.
Yeah.
You know, I remember going to a therapist and her saying, "Oh, well, you're a perfectionist." And I was like, "Oh, Jesus, no, I'm not a perfectionist. You want to see my car?" Because I had it in my head that a perfectionist was someone who had everything
Together.
OCD together, when it isn't. It's about having that, that's not what a perfectionist is. It's just like, how do you feel about your car being messy? I says, it does my head in. I want it to be clean. Just like, that's a perfectionist, wanting everything to be perfect. And if it's not, then you're constantly striving. So I was in fight or flight for years.
Yeah.
And then just taking medication and thinking, oh, maybe I just need to change it from this one to that one. Maybe it's hormonal. So all these different things I'm just so stressed out. I'm so busy with work. My success was growing, and it was nearly like, because I had such financial difficulty when my husband left, and there was the recession, and we had bought loads of property, and I just lost my mum, and I had 2 wee babies. It was mental. Now that I look back, I go, no wonder I was constantly burning out. But I just kept taking more medication and going.
Yeah.
And going and going and going, and then burning out again. So again, I was like, I'm not doing something right. I'm not achieving something right here, because to look from the outside, it looked like I had everything. So why am I not enjoying it?
That's exactly how
it was felt. A joy. It was a lack in the joy thing. So you're asking where my aha moment was. So there's lots of different things over I remember getting my products into Boots. And it was this big, huge launch event down at Dublin in their flag. Yeah. And there was hundreds of people there. It was all the cool influencers and all the who's who and what's what in the makeup world. And I just stood there like, what am I doing here? Like, I just felt like you say, an imposter. I was like, what am I doing here? I didn't feel like, you would have for years, it was like, oh my God, I'm going to get my own range of products. I'm going like, that was my goal. And then when you get your goal, like this big, huge goal, and you're like, I don't really like it here. You know?
And then you're searching for the next one.
Yeah. I remember someone saying to me, be careful climbing the ladder of success. Just make sure the ladder's up against the right wall.
Wow.
So I was like, I've got all this and I've done all this, and I'm meant to be totally elated. But that was, so that, and then I was like, none of this is, I thought I would have felt better. So no matter what I did in myself, I never felt better. And so burnout, and on this hamster wheel, as I call it. But too afraid to come off it, because I was so triggered at the financial insecurity after what I'd been through. So I think we're just constantly looking to feel safe. And I thought if I was really successful and had all these things, then I would feel safe. Yeah. You know? And then my beautiful friend took his own life.
Oh my goodness.
Just before lockdown. Stephen Clements, from not far from here. Yeah, he committed suicide, and I remember then it was lockdown, and I remember being out in the towpath where I go walking, and it was literally what the fuck is it all about?
Right, yeah.
Like, literally, what the fuck is this all about? What is it we're trying to get to? Who is it we're trying to be? I've all my ducks in a row. Again, I've spent years getting my ducks back in a row after they were smashed off. Yeah. But I still feel the same. Yeah. And I was like, I feel like I've tried everything. I had tried loads of therapies. I had tried, I had done and everything all did help, and it is a combination of things, but nothing was really hitting the spot. Yeah. I'd done like thinking into results and all that, and loads of therapy, and I'd done MDR and I'd done the RTT and done it all. And I remember being out in the towpath and just being like, frig me, I've tried everything. Like, what am I not getting? Like, why am I not enjoying my life? I've achieved all this.
Yeah.
I've got all this beautiful family, friends, home, business, very, very privileged life at that point.
Yeah.
And I always believe it felt like it was Stephen's voice in my head going, you haven't tried everything.
It probably was, you know.
You haven't. Keep going. And so I made a decision then, I'm going to try everything and anything to figure it out because it's just something that I haven't figured out.
Yeah.
And then, so I remember going private to a gynecologist and a psychiatrist looking for a label. Like, is this, have I got,
do you fit into a box?
Yes. And then if I understand that, then maybe I'll know, oh, right, that's what it is. So I went to the gynecologist and within a very short space of time, I was diagnosed with a condition called PMDD.
Oh, yes.
Which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So then you go down the rabbit hole of research and all of that. And I was ticking every box. I was like, oh my God, that's what it is. That's what's been wrong with me all these years. Right, so how do you fix it? And he says, you have a hysterectomy. You get the lot out.
Wow.
And then we'll have to put you on HRT and we'll have to maybe get your SSRIs. And I went,
oh my goodness.
what? And so that completely freaked me out.
Yeah, no wonder.
What
age were you then?
41, 42.
Still a big thing, even at that, you know, to have to go through a hysterectomy.
I just was horrified. I was just like, and because I was so unwell and riddled with anxiety, when someone tells you that, and then when I went down into all the forums of PMDD, all I read was these women who had had hysterectomies and still suffering.
Yeah.
And still, I've still tried this HRT and this, medication, all this. And I was just like, the more I read, the more I was going, is this my only answer? So I was absolutely petrified. Went to psychiatrist. He was like, wouldn't really put you in a box. Probably would put you on the ADHD spectrum, but most entrepreneurs are. I was like, okay, whatever. So you get your labels, but it's not, sometimes it helps people to feel a bit acknowledged.
Yeah.
But for me, it didn't change anything.
Yeah.
It didn't change how I felt, didn't change how I perceived things. And then the next thing, I'd met someone who I know, and he started talking about plant medicines. And he says, have you heard of DMT? I was like, no. He says, psychedelic.
Yeah.
And I went, Jesus, no way. Like, I took acid once when I was 14, frightened the shit out of myself, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
So no. And I was like, I don't even hardly drink, and you're talking about because to me, as everybody does who isn't aware of how psychedelic therapy works, they automatically go to what, drugs?
Yeah,
like, get off your head,
exactly.
drugs. And so that's the perception that we all had, myself included. But he just looked at me straight in the eye and he just says, it'll cure your depression. And I went, yeah, right. But he left that breadcrumb. He left that acorn. And I was like, so then I goes down the rabbit hole of starting to research DMT, ayahuasca, other plant medicines, Cambo, stuff like that. Then thinking, am I going to have to get my ass over to South America here, to the jungle? But I was able to find somewhere closer to home that does ayahuasca retreats. And I remember absolutely petrified, so petrified, you know, to go from someone doesn't even really take a drink, let alone going to do this after a traumatizing experience when I was 14. So again, I had to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
I had to then really sit with myself and go, well, I can't go on living the way I'm living. And everything I've done to this point hasn't really changed how I feel.
Yeah.
And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted something. I was just looking for answers. I was looking for understanding. And so I went and did my first ayahuasca retreat, and that was 4 years ago.
Amazing.
And it changed my life.
I can imagine. I can really imagine. I sat and looked at the retreats in the position you were in, and I knew that I was unraveling, and I knew that I didn't feel, but I was always worried about what I would open up in the subconscious, and I didn't really have too many people around me that were sort of in even the personal development, so I was kind of sat with it, and then it felt like the bricks kept falling on my head. Things just kept getting tougher and tougher and tougher until I couldn't cope no more. And then I was like, I feel I've really healed from being raped. I feel I've healed from this. There's something sitting in my subconscious that needs to come out. I need to know.
Body was showing you.
It was showing me, yeah. And that's when I found the RTT. That's what really changed me. And it changed my life. Just the way you're saying about the it's
awareness. Like
it
people
is.
say, what is it, Ciara, why did it change your life? And for me, the RTT, which I've done as well, is amazing. And even breath work.
Yeah.
I've had some amazing breath work sessions that have had lots of what I call downloads.
I'm the same.
So it's not that I say you have to go and do this to get this. It's just a path to a certain destination. The destination being consciously aware and of your subconscious, of how this life works. What is this experience all about? And for me, I have such a thirst to find out more and more and more, because the more I find out, the happier I am.
I agree.
And this is why I literally am open to try everything.
Yeah.
Not that I have to go, like I still go and do ayahuasca retreats, and every time I go and do one, I've talked about it before, I talk about emotional tumours that live in our subconscious mind and physically in our body.
Yeah.
And I say to people, it's a bit like, I call it emotional weight.
Yeah.
And you'll know this being a PT. So there's lots of different ways that you can lose weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of different ways, whether that's RTT, breath work, cold water swimming, all the different plethora of therapies they're all great ways to lose weight. For me, the likes of an ayahuasca retreat is like weight loss surgery.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out in one go.
Yeah.
It's not, because it's hard as like weight loss surgery is. It's very difficult to do. Like people are like, are you being sick and you're not scared? I'm like, yeah, I'm shitting myself. But the benefits, like how you feel after a retreat, is like, I remember for the months and months that came after my first retreat, I remember being like, I forgot this is how I was meant to feel. I haven't felt like this from I was a wee girl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that was long time. Months of just being like, what the frig was I doing to myself all them years? So, for me, what the ayahuasca showed me was I was literally murdering myself. Yeah. I was doing it. My pain and my suffering is my own thoughts and doing.
Yeah.
Yes, these things happen, and I have plenty of compassion for the trauma that I've had in my life. But it shows you then how and why you reacted the way you did.
Yeah.
And some of it was very beneficial because, the post-traumatic growth. And without all that, I wouldn't have become a successful makeup artist. So there was lots of benefits to even the shit stuff happening.
Yeah.
And it's
but there always is.
Yeah, and it's really learning to always to see the good side, even when something really shit happens. But then also to stop being so hard on yourself. And that was a constant. The past 4 years, only really in the past year, I've got like massive. This is why each retreat I go on, it's like another layer comes off. It's like how hard we are on ourselves is. Yeah. And to me, that's what depression is. Depression is when you disconnect from loving yourself.
That's very true.
You know, like, and not being your own best friend and just disconnect. That's why your self-esteem is low. That's why you're giving yourself a hard time. You're not good enough. You should be doing more of this. If you only did more of that, then you'd be happy. It's like a vicious circle.
I don't know. Didn't say to you, but I did suffer from fibromyalgia, and I was diagnosed with it probably at the start of COVID, and it was the same. I was just trauma and not dealing with it and suppressing the feelings and just and it
and
was.
How are you now with it?
I don't have it anymore.
Same. I don't. For FYI, just to finish that up, I didn't get the hysterectomy. I haven't taken medication in 4 years. I don't have any symptoms of any of these things that I was diagnosed with. That's probably amazing. A wee bit of ADHD in there, like, but
I think
I don't have any PMDD symptoms at all.
It's amazing.
And the change is learning to listen to your body.
Yeah.
That has been my biggest lesson. Your body is always trying to show you, as you know.
Yeah.
The fibromyalgia was your body's way of saying, Lisa, listen, we got some work to do here.
I know. It
and
really
was. It was the same as the PMDD. When the more I unraveled it and the more retreats and the more work that I did on myself, it was like, it is a manifestation of bad and negative energy, of trapped trauma. And the more you resolve that, the better you're going to physically feel.
Yeah. That is so true. It really is. I struggled, and I was getting to the point where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue with my working in the studio, training people, and I couldn't even do certain types of exercise. It was only weights. I couldn't do any cardio because it floored me, and I was exhausted. And then when I got a good day, then I was burning out. So it was just But once I started. And like you, I had did work before. I had been in counselling, and counselling has its place, and it was good. And it was actually counselling that brought me to the fact that I needed to do subconscious work. The counsellor agreed with me. He was like, Lisa, I do feel like there is something that we cannot find out below the age of 5. And that was why I started looking at the retreats, and then I discovered the RTT. But once all these bricks started taking off, I've just took on this whole new person. My personality's changed. I'm not the same person. A lot of people have fallen away out of my life, which was hard. But in terms of, it was for the good, because it's opened doors to a lot better people, because there was a lot of people weren't doing my mental health good. So
well, that's it. Your vibe attracts your tribe, as they say.
That's it. Yeah, it is. It's mad. So you still go then on these retreats?
Oh yeah.
Because I would love to go. I went Happy Fest, obviously your event, but I went, Nikki floated off. I think she was going to, it was before Daydream McGuire's one. She was going off to see somebody, and I went into the retreat one, because the only thing I've done is rapé, but I still feel quite drawn to it. So I do.
Yeah, I think your soul is called to something, and this is why not everybody is called to do it. That's why I never want to put it out there, this is for everybody and this is going to change your life. I can only talk about my journey. I think it's it's like going back to the weight loss analogy, the emotional weight loss. Do you know, like, you can go and have emotional weight loss surgery, you can go and have weight loss surgery and then go back to eating really shit food and whatever else and still feeling like crap. It's a combination of lots of stuff, and you know, that changed my life 4 years ago. But then, you know, I remember a year later having to go and do another retreat because programs started to kick back in again. Life, this dense life that we're in, you know, it kicked back in, and the neurological pathways were and I was back into the work, burnout. And then there was more stuff so my next retreat, I unraveled a lot more. Then my next retreat, it was something completely different, you know, about my relationships, about my marriage, about my, you know, the first retreat was me giving myself a hard time. That's what I learned. Like, stop doing it to yourself. You don't have to do all what you're doing. I was like, do not. Like that, it was like this, I have I don't have to do all that. And it's like, it's nearly like you're conversing with the higher power or whatever. And
Yes.
it's just like, you are doing this yourself. You are so hard on yourself, Ciara. And then the second retreat was all around my mum's death and also around my mum's sexual abuse as a child.
Wow.
And the generational trauma of that.
Yeah, I've opened up that too.
Yes, and then how that then manifested into my hormonal,
Wow.
dysregulation. I know
It's
it blows people.
mind-blowing, isn't it?
I know it's like, I always kind of go, do you share that book? Because people are going to go, what the fuck are you
But it will
talking
resonate
about?
with some people, and I know some people listen to this.
Yeah,
It will really.
it's like, there's that book, It Didn't Start With You. And you have to remember that when your granny, let me get this right, your granny is born with her eggs, which then has your mother in the egg.
Yeah.
And then your mum is born with the egg that has you. So of course trauma is going to impact all of these cells in the body. And this is scientifically proven. This isn't even just woo-woo stuff. So obviously when my mum was getting badly sexually abused as a child, she had her eggs in her.
Yeah.
So we'll never, the epigenetics of that, which is scientifically proven, as I say, how that can affect. But it's not just about knowing all of this stuff. It's about understanding that we can heal this.
Yes.
It's not just going, oh, I have that. It's like some people get their labels. I have ADHD, I have PMDD, I have fibromyalgia, and then that's that.
Yeah.
And it's not my fault because I've been given these labels.
Labels.
It's about really, and it's hard. Like none of us are the perfect article, but to me, it's about taking accountability for yourself and understanding that if that trauma could affect us and make us sick or make our parents or grandparents sick.
Yeah.
Joe Dispenza, who is one of the next retreats I'm going on, see him in Switzerland. So he is a neuroscientist and a biochemist, absolutely incredible person. And he talks about, if you agree that the mind can cause you illness, so if thoughts can make you sick, so if you're stressed and then that creates the cortisol in your body, and he talks the whole science of it. So then the stress causes, your brain and heart coherence to be out of whack, and then you can develop disease of energy in the body.
Yeah.
That's all that disease is. So he talks about, if the thoughts can make you sick, then thoughts can make you better.
Exactly.
Thoughts
right.
can heal you. And so I think we just don't know what we are capable of.
That's so true.
And that's what my quest is. And that's why even with Happy Face, I'm so passionate about saying to people, but we don't know what we don't know. Exactly.
It's like people have asked me about me am I off the personal development hamster wheel in terms of healing myself? I've healed from the massives of traumas, but like you, I feel like I like to do them. I liked it because
you're never fully healed.
Yes, exactly. Because as humans, we have human emotions and other things happen. What's traumatic for me isn't necessarily traumatic for you. Do you know what I mean? So, but it is.
I'm looking forward to that, the Joe Dispenza.
That'll be good. Because funny, Laura, my RTT therapist, she had mentioned about going to one of his retreats as well. So she did. So we'll definitely look at it.
There's so much stuff, and again, everything is just more awareness and changing how we think.
Yeah.
Like you touched on, people aren't even aware that we only live 3 to 5% conscious mind, 95 to 97% subconscious mind. Like, even I explain this to my students about makeup. Like, how does it become natural that you don't, going from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind? And that should be standard practice in schools to teach our kids.
Because it totally changes your perception of the outlook of life, how you view yourself, everything. And when you learn to open up your subconscious mind, it's amazing. And you're saying about breath work. I mean, I do breath work sessions now, and it's like, wow, I come away and it's like, wow, I feel like high as a kite. it's just amazing. Just drop it into your subconscious, whether you're working on your manifestation or what. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the ideas and the flow of life. Because I know me, I really lived in my masculine energy. I was living fight or flight, and I had PTSD as well. And yeah, I was just the full masculine, even at home and in the gym, obviously pushing people, training people, and then going home and feeling, and I was a man at home basically in that relationship I was in. So yeah, I really had to heal my feminine energy as well.
Yeah, that I feel you so much on that one. Yeah, like, because for me, when I was in my feminine energy, obviously I just had 2 babies and I wasn't working at the time, and then I got kind of left to get on with it by myself. So in my subconscious mind went, it's not safe to be in your feminine energy.
Yeah.
So I had to step into my masculine energy. And some people, you know, like if I'm on a business podcast or whatever, and they're like, you know, how did you build your business, whatever, and say I start talking about masculine energy, feminine energy, and they're looking at me going, what the fuck is she talking about?
No, I
but
get
it was like, I had to step into my masculine. I was in survival.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the safer place to be.
Yeah.
You know, to provide and keep being successful and keep going. And I thought that was the better way to be. And yeah, the past couple of years softening into my feminine has been really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And yeah, just being like, it's actually, you know, okay to be in your feminine. Whereas before I was like quite harsh, I guess.
I was the same.
Know?
Yeah.
Just fighting the world.
Yeah. And
Fighting
I would
the
have
world.
not liked people to see me sitting the way I'm sitting now. That was my biggest fear. Was to see people to see like me opening up, a vulnerable side of me. I liked people to think, oh, she's strong.
She's got her shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, right? But then, you know, but it's just finding that balance.
It is.
You know, and sometimes, like I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and she's like, I just did it. And I'm like, look, I know we want to be in our feminine energy, but shut the fuck up. You got to get into your masculine sometimes and get this shit done.
Yeah.
So it's not about going from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
You know, because then you get into an unhealthy feminine energy where you just can't be asked doing anything. Yeah. And it's like, look, just for now, get into your masculine, get the shit done, and then you can, you know, and just pivot.
Go back into the flow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I know I think that's what people don't realise, that the masculine energy is the doer. Mm-hmm. It's not just ego, it's the doer. It's what gets the shit done, really. Mm-hmm. You know, and where the women, the feminine energy, it's more the flow and the flow of life.
Yeah, nurturing and creativity and
yeah.
But yeah, we need a wee bit of masculine to get shit done, don't we?
We do. Otherwise, we just land the stuff and do fuck all.
Yeah, receive the feminine energy.
Yeah, just send it all down. Well, let's dive into Happy Fest. Now, I could talk about Happy Fest for hours. It only came into my awareness last year, and it was literally, it was just after the second one, and I was like, shit, how did I miss that? Where have I been? And I was like, right. So I actually put it in my calendar for the following year, and it was close to when I was supposed to get married. And I was like, no, I'm definitely going to go. Definitely going to go. But
you got the FOMO. Yeah.
I was amazed. Me and my wee friend came away. We just floated home. We had the best day. It was just, it was lovely. Really, really lovely.
Love hearing that.
It was.
Yeah.
And the day just flew by. It really, really flew by, because we were like, oh my God, it's 4:00. We haven't eaten yet.
Yeah.
And we were just going from one thing to the other, just taking in so much. And it was amazing. So where did Happy Fest come about, Ciara?
It came about in a breathwork session.
Really?
Yeah.
Say these breathwork sessions are amazing.
So, well, I mean, after it's everything is cognitive. You know, it's not less like one. I remember after Stephen died, and I had I was doing things like hypnotherapy and all different plethora of things, acupuncture and reflexology and auricular acupuncture and different bits and pieces. And I was like, people were coming into me when I was doing even like and I'd done loads of mindset stuff and other therapies. I used to say I've done the alphabet. I've done the CBT, the RTT, the EFT, the EMDR. I've done the alphabet of therapies, right? And so when people were coming in to me to get their makeup done, I was nearly prescribing them what they needed to go away and try. I was like, oh, you should try the RTT therapy, or you should try the hypnotherapy, or the, whatever I was doing. Yeah, give it a go. Try the cold water swimming. Try, the benefits of fasting, or whatever it was. So they were constantly walking away with like a prescription.
Yeah,
you were giving them
a wee gift bags of prescription.
Yeah. So,
but that's a lovely thing, because I do that in here too.
Of course, right? So, and doing someone's makeup is very, very intimate. There's not many people touch your face.
That's it.
So it is a very intimate. So people do open up, and then even constantly with my students, they're like, but Ciara, how did you get the courage to do this? Or how did you find the self-belief to start your business and whatever? And just in talking, I would have just look at, started doing this course, or I listened to these podcasts or books or whatever I was doing. And so I had started doing an app called the Life Lounge, and that was like 4 years ago, just after Stephen. And it was like interviewing, a little bit like a podcast, interviewing people of all types of well-being. So whether that was yoga or a nutritionist, or had the hormone health coach, which just come into my head. She was on, she does all the acupuncture. So we started interviewing all these different people, and it was on an app, which was great during lockdown. But then after lockdown, my business was so busy. Yeah. Everybody was getting married and wanted their makeup done after lockdown. So I kind of had to go back to that. But then fast forward a year, I still had this niggle that I was like, how can I showcase all of these amazing things that there is in Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland, like the people can do to help themselves? And Stephen has always kind of been my guide in this. It's like, if he had a knew there was all this different stuff.
I know.
And then I know other people who have took their own lives, or thinking back to when I was really rock bottom in my depression and feeling like there was
nothing there.
There was nothing really there, except you go to the doctor and you take medication. Like, to me, yes, you went for a wee bit of therapy, you went for a wee session, but nothing seemed to hit the spot. Because it was only a bit of counselling, like you say, or medication. And medication just kind of numbs you. Yeah. Yes, it makes you not feel really low, but then it kind of stops you halfway, and you don't feel joy or whatever. So we're all kind of zombified. Yeah. And so it must have been, now let me get this right. It was about a year and a half after my ayahuasca. I had healed so much, and I was so into trying doing cacao circles and breath work and meditation and different events and different retreats that I was going on. I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. More people need to know about this. Yeah. And I did a breath work session with Carrie. I don't know if you know Find a Balance with Carrie. She's amazing.
Oh, yes.
And it was in her yoga space, her yoga studio. It's a really cool space. And I literally got this download that my purpose in life is to be the connector. Wow. I have to connect these people with these people. Yeah. So it's not that I had to become, because lots of people over the years, like, would you not do life coaching, Ciara? Would you not do therapist? Would you not do, because I'm so into it all. And I was like, I just didn't feel that was my role to do one-on-one. I wanted a bigger, to reach more.
To facilitate people.
Yeah, so it was like, I remember I'm going to do an event, and I'm going to, because the people who are in the world of healing and all the therapies and different stuff, they're so good at doing that, but they're not that great at business, most of them. Yeah. Because they're healers. Yeah. And then I was like, and these people can't really find these people, so hence why the idea of Happy Fest. I was like, I want to show people of Northern Ireland and beyond, there are so many different ways to help you get happy. So many, mind, body, soul. It's not one size fits all. And to understand that our system is one system, you know, like earlier on I was talking about, I didn't know if it was me outsides or me insides. It's all the one.
Yeah.
You know, and your mental health, your physical health is all one health.
That's very true.
And it's like, when are they going to cotton on to that? Like, it's, you know, if you're physically unwell, you're going to be mentally unwell and vice versa. And just that. And it was like on a wing and a prayer. So it's just grew. Like, this year was just absolutely incredible. We're already have plans for next year. Like,
amazing.
Yeah.
That was my next question. So where are we going next year with it?
Well, we're going to a new location next year.
Wow.
Yeah. We're hoping to, I can't say yet until it's in the bag, but it will be a Belfast location. It was out in Crawfordsburn, which is beautiful, but we have found a more central location for people, and it's actually one of my favourite places in Belfast.
Okay.
So fingers crossed, it'll not be long before we announce that it's going to be where I, again, had another vision just came to me. I was like, oh my God, this is where we're going to have it. So it'll be handier, obviously, for people, you know, more centre in Belfast. Just more speakers, bigger speakers, just more. I've just really got my teeth into it this year, because I did it with someone else the first couple of years. Kieran,
this was the first year you did it.
And then this year I was like, I'm doing it on my own, and I just got the burning desire that is what you need to really build something special. And so this year was mind blowing, like how much it's grew even from last year. But it's a word of mouth. You know, and this is why, like, I always feel very privileged. Anybody asking me to come on to their podcast or whatever, it's like, you gotta always remember why you're doing it. Yeah. You know, and of course, you know, people are like, always remember your intention. Yeah. You know, and my intention is I want to just help people when they're feeling that low, know that there is ways to heal and ways. It's not. I'm gonna revert back a wee bit. See this thing, it's okay not to be okay. I disagree with that. Yeah. I understand when people say that, it's okay not to be okay. I get what the point of that is. Yeah. It's okay to admit that there's something wrong, of course. But the problem with that statement is, some people live there for years, like me. Yeah. I remember someone saying, you can't cure bad mental health, you just learn to manage it. That's not true. We're here to evolve and grow. And I believed that. Yeah. I believed that. I thought it was just something I was going to have to manage, that I could never heal myself, that I could never be truly, authentically happy. Yeah. That was the narrative that I told myself. And guess what happens when you tell yourself something? You believe it. Exactly. And it's like, I am just not okay with not being okay. It's like, no, it's your body's way of telling you something needs to change, something needs to shift. Mm-hmm. So when you're feeling like anxious, depressed, not well, sit with yourself. And this is something that is very hard to do in this overstimulated world that we live in. Like, turn your fucking phones off. You know, your answers aren't on in the doom scrolling. It's sitting with yourself and going, what do you need? You know, what's not right here? Like, and then going to all of these different modalities and facilitators and being like, I want to unravel, like you did. Like, you were like, write this RTT, it's going to uncover it. Yeah. And when you know what it is that's ailing you, then that's how you can heal it. Exactly. But if you don't know, you don't know.
I knew that I could not live. Well, I could have accepted the way I was living, but I mean, I went on holiday to Egypt with my ex-partner. That was our last holiday, and I felt so ill in here. I was working. I couldn't barely walk. I felt like my hip was broke. I felt like I was fucking dying. And that's the truth. And the doctor
it's
was giving
how
me...
your body shows you, like.
Yeah, the doctor was saying, oh, but they were giving me gabapentin, which has its place in many things, but that's a very strong drug, you know. So
what is that, Lisa?
they give it for epilepsy. It's actually, I forget what the top one was, or the top one is, but it's one of the top pain medications. I know. And they handed it out, because I was getting to the point where I was like, I can't live like this. I don't feel that old. Do you know what I mean? But I just felt like I was dying. And I felt like slowly I was losing my career. Slowly I just could not cope. It was just horrendous. And I was like, I need more self-love. And I was on my business page talking about self-love, promoting self-love. And I was saying, what's missing here, Lisa? Yeah. What is missing here? What are you missing?
But at least you were curious enough to ask the questions. Yeah. It's like that thing on the towpath that day of, you haven't tried everything. Keep going. Yeah. Keep looking. Because it's just because like you say, what was that aha moment? Yeah. And it's so like, and it's not even, like sometimes you'll talk to people, and in therapy I found you'll get the aha moments and you're like, oh, yeah. But it's how do you change the awareness into the knowing in your body and soul? That's the work. Yeah. That's the integration. So it's like with the ayahuasca, whatever it is, even with your RTT, you had to integrate what you were showing. You can't just go, all right, I get it. But then your body is so conditioned to be a certain way. That's only showing you what caused the trauma, and then into the, the disease in the body. It's then integrating. In that, and that's, you have to put the action into the 3D world. Yes. That's it. You do. And you have to look after your energetic field as well. And you have to do, I like to call it energetic hygiene. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So it's... I like that one. Energetic hygiene. Yeah. Well, that's what I thought about bringing Reiki in here, because I'm always talking personal development, always wanting to help people, because this is why this podcast started. I had women coming here with anxiety, depression, and they were looking at me, and I was like, shit, Yeah. And it's that's a big responsibility, but it's understanding that other person has to be accountable. Yeah. Like I remember people saying to me years ago when I was on medication, saying, oh, you need to get off all that. And I, in my head, was saying, but you don't know. Yeah. Like, what do you know about me and my life? And it's genetic with me, and it's hormonal, and it's because this happened or that happened. Like, it's only a wee tablet, it sorts me out. But it doesn't. And it is a slow unraveling. And I just beg for people, especially women, like, see, even like this menopause chat that seems to be overtaking the world at the minute. Yeah. I'm more interested in what the Japanese women are doing. Yeah. They don't have menopause symptoms. So what are they doing different than we're not doing? Yeah. Maybe, I dare question that maybe menopause, we get things like anxiety, or I'm like, well, maybe that's your body's way of saying, do you know what, love? It's all right to slow down a wee bit. Yeah. It's your environment. Yeah. Yeah, it's as you say, it's being aware of what's around you, your environment, and what's going into the body as well. Yeah. It's everything, and it's like, well, what's your body telling you if you're getting menopausal symptoms? What is that trying to tell you? It's not telling you go and take HRT or medication, and I'm not saying I'll never will. Who knows? Yeah. But I just go, well, how the hell is the Japanese women not getting symptoms? What do they know that we don't know? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I'm curious to that. And everybody just wants a label, but labels don't really make you healthier. Yeah. They might help you a little bit. Yeah. But keep going with the search. I feel with labels, they kind of get a lot of people to a place where they're going to make them feel stuck. And that's what happened to me. When I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I felt stuck. Yes. I was like, fuck. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, maybe with PMDD, it was like, oh, that's what's wrong with me. So it's not my fault.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to be on HRT, or I'm going to have a hysterectomy or SSRIs. It's not my fault. This is this condition that I have.
Yeah.
And whilst at the time it was nice to go, okay, you're not crazy, Ciara, it didn't make me feel better even after that label. I was still very, very unwell.
Yeah.
And there's people out there, like Vicky Pattison is out there shouting and screaming about PMDD, and I'm like, you gotta be careful that. I just think we gotta be careful, because then it's like, oh, you need to get on HRT and you need medication. Really, medication is a last resort. Yeah. You know, and I'm not saying that there's no place for medication. Of course there is. Yeah. But as a long-term solution to feeling really, really, it's not for me. Like, and that's my journey. Yeah. And I'm not telling anybody else who's listening, come off all your medication. Yeah. It's a journey. It's a bit by bit understanding. But do not think that that is the only answer. That's all that I want people to know.
Yeah. And I actually connected with someone that I used to bother with many, many moons ago, and she has the same condition, and she has been through many things, and she finds that this kind of work is what has helped her. She was given answer, like, basically she was told she couldn't have children, this, that, all different things, and it really impacted her mental health.
Oh, massively.
Yeah, and just given medication just to basically,
And I don't blame the doctors, because everybody's trying their best with the information that's given. Yeah. You know, I have good friends who are GPs, and I've talked in depth about this, and I know even the gynecologist, they thought, well, this will help. But it's like, how about looking beyond that? I do not have any symptoms of PMDD anymore.
It's amazing.
Like nothing.
Amazing. I'm the same with
fibromyalgia. And sometimes it blows my mind.
It does. It blows your mind, because it's like a pinch me moment. Yes. I still get it all the time. Just wee silly things. Like I hadn't run for 7 years because of the fibromyalgia. And probably in the last 2 months, I've been out running. And it was just like about the third run, I was like, holy shit. My ankles were so sore, they just felt like they were going to break. And I was like, wow. Mm-hmm. And that was just like feeling like high as a kite, just from that alone. Yeah.
So now I feel like all the shit, like yourself, I'm sure you feel the same. It's like, well, maybe I get given all that upset and trauma and depression and burnout, and everything that I had to go through was exactly perfect for me to go and help people, because I have healed. Yeah. And continue to heal. Like I'm happy out, like, all the time. You know, of course there's shitty things that happen that knock you a wee bit, but overall, like my life is shit. Like, and it was probably from my early 20s. You know, just unraveling, as we keep saying. Yeah. So just keep unraveling, keep going, keep listening to the podcast, and keep being hopeful. Yeah. Maybe there's something that you haven't found yet.
Yeah. Wow, Ciara. So I'm going to touch on, because I listened to you talking about this last week, and I thought it was really, really good, and it's inspiring for women. So you were talking about conscious connections. They were at Happy Fest as well. And it was really inspiring to listen to a woman going there. I had this conversation with Steph, who was on as well. She put herself out there, and about going to these kinds of events, because you know yourself, when you go back into the dating world and you're like Tinder, and you're like, holy fuck. Yeah, are you assholes going into your DMs, as I like to say, which I have experienced. And basically, what? No, that's not the connection. That's it. That's laziness. It is, to me, that's just laziness.
Looking into your DMs. Yeah. You can't knock a guy for trying, Lisa.
I think just because of the PT world, I think I've just had too much of it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But so tell us a wee bit about your experience. I did see them at Happy Fest.
Did you do their session with them?
I didn't know, because we were running off to do something else.
So again, in this healing journey, I had to, I made the decision about 1.5 years ago to be single. like properly single instead of either looking or having this or I've had beautiful relationships in my life. I've had not so beautiful relationships in my life. I thank them all because they were all a lesson in some way, shape or form. I remember saying to my daddy, well, sure, look how that, he was talking about one of his relationships. He says, well, sure, look how that turned out. That was a disaster. I says, Daddy, that wasn't a disaster. You had a beautiful relationship for 4.5 years of a 5-year relationship. That was a success. It was amazing. You had great times. You had a ball. You got on great. It didn't work out in the end, but it doesn't mean that it was a failure.
Yeah.
And so, again, it's changing our perceptions on our relationships. It doesn't have to be happily ever after. My last long-term relationship was a beautiful man who I loved dearly. We had a great, healthy relationship, but we just grew in different directions. So I've nothing but love for him and his journey. Yeah, he's a lovely, lovely guy. But then there was other relationships that I had, that you could sit here and bitch and moan about all day. But my God, the lessons.
Yeah.
And so 1.5 years ago, as I say, I want to be single because I need to understand what is going on with me, that I'm attracting certain types of people, or what it is, why this is coming up. And understanding your attachment styles, understanding your love languages, understanding narcissism, empath, all that. So I've really, and you know what? The problem that I now have is that I'm so fucking happy single. Like, genuinely so happy single. I know people say that, but it's like, no, I actually really mean it. But then I think that that's a good place.
It is.
Obviously.
Yeah, because you're confident in yourself.
Yeah, but just like, I tell you what I've realised. If I meet someone and it doesn't work out, I'm not as bothered because I know I'm only going back to my happy self.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. So it's a win-win situation. So even if I put myself out there, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, I'll just be like, well, what's the worst can happen? I'll just go back to being by myself, which is sweet.
Yeah.
So I've got myself to that point where I really genuinely love sitting with myself and being such a social person. I always was like wanting to go here, wanting to go there, running here, running there. And now I'm like happy out sitting. Spending a lot of time by myself, spending more time with my kids, spending time, like what you say, with people who you want to be around.
Yeah.
And on this journey, the people that I have met, oh my God. And the more work that you do, the more, in a way, you do struggle. Unless your friends are growing with you on this journey, they're going to go on a different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
There's no bad feeling, there's no hard feeling. They're here on this journey for a different reason.
Different purpose,
and that's okay. So you just wish them well and no hard feeling. But for me, the conscious connections, so Sinead was like, you gotta come on and all, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, do it. The inner critic's still there all the time.
Everybody has it.
What is this, like, I was taking the piss, I was like, is this fucking speed dating for hippies? Like what is it? Am I going to go and it's flipping going to be like totally, and I always describe myself like a hybrid hippie. Like, I love that life, but I'm also like still shaving my armpits and putting my makeup on, still like getting dressed up and,
getting the heels
and
on.
Everybody to their own, there's no judgment.
That's the thing with being authentic self. Do you know what I mean? You're not following the crowd. You're being Ciara.
Yeah, so I'm kind of somewhere, a hybrid hippie, as I call myself, and that's okay. So I went, frick it, I'm just going to, and even that morning, I went to yoga, and I remember sitting after yoga going, I have to go to this thing, and there's a couple of guys, like my mates who go to yoga, and they're like, what the frick are you doing now, wee girl, this kind of crack. And I was like, I don't know, it's speed dating for hippies or something, I don't know. And they were like, you better, you know. So I ended up and met them after it for dinner, and they wanted the whole lowdown, blah, blah, blah. But I went, felt the fear and did it anyway. This is why this book is a game changer. And I was so pleasantly surprised at my experience. I didn't know, I'd never been even speed dating or anything like that, but I was like, well, just go. And Steph was there, my mate Sinead was there, and I was like, well, sure, I get to hang out with my mates. And I love Sinead and David Patrick, amazing human beings. So, and I wanted to support them because obviously they supported me for Happy Fest. So I just turned up, and it was absolutely amazing afternoon. It was good fun. It was good conversations. It was amazing to be in a big, massive room full of single people.
Yeah.
So even though it didn't make a romantic connection, there wasn't actually any pressure to make a romantic connection.
Yeah.
That was what I was wrong about. I was like, oh God, what if is the pressure going to be on? And then the pressure gives you the ick.
Yeah.
Well, it gives me the ick. And if someone puts pressure on me, I'm icked out. I'm away up the road. But there was no pressure. It was, and how Sinead and David Patrick held the space and prompted the questions and told you what to do. You know, one minute I was sitting with a 60-year-old guy asking a really heartfelt question, and he was answering, and and then the next thing I was sitting with like a 22-year-old guy, you know.
Yeah.
So there was no pressure.
Sure. Yeah.
It was just so lovely.
Yeah. Steph actually shared some of the things, and she says the staring into the eyes, and she says it was
just like a really lovely way just to talk to other humans, and really, and I always say you gotta be around other people who are going through the same thing as you.
Yeah.
So if you are a business owner, for example, you need to talk to other business owners. If you're a PT, you need to talk to other PTs. Makeup artists, talk to other makeup artists. You know, because we can empathize and relate to each other.
Yeah.
If you're a single mom, if you're a divorcee, if I remember, you know, when my mum died, I only wanted to talk to people whose mums had died because I couldn't relate to anybody who hadn't. So it's always like finding your tribe. So to be in a big, massive room full of all single people, because sometimes there is a bit of a stigma, especially being a woman in my 40s. Yeah. Sometimes there's a bit of, all right, she's single. Yeah. But maybe that's in my head, you know?
Well, don't know. I have to agree with you. There is, and that was one of the first things I thought when I was cancelling my wedding. I was like, fuck, 40, single.
But you know what? Do you know what you get when you're 42? You stop giving a fuck about what other people think. You know, like I'm like, so what? Like I don't care. Yeah. Forget about what other people think, and that's being authentic to yourself. So it was really, really good. I am really looking forward to the next one. And I don't see if you say to me, well, you're not actually going to meet anybody through that. I don't care. Yeah. It's actually a great way to spend the day, a great way to be with other people in the same boat as you. Yeah. And also, like what you says about Tinder and all, especially when you're doing this work, I just...
that gives me the ick.
I just can't do the chit chat. Like, and here's the thing,
mind-numbing chit chat.
But here's the thing: I'm part of the problem as well. I'm not giving any more either on the apps. You know, like I go on and then I go, well, what did I give there? I didn't. Have I asked him anything profound or exciting? No. Yeah. So we're all as. It's not that. You know, because I hear some people going, oh, all the guys on apps are assholes. I'm like, no, we're assholes as well. Yeah. You know, like, really, we're part of the problem. Like, what are you doing better than the guy? Nothing, probably. So take yourself off it and try other things like the conscious connections and imagine having a wee bit of fun. I've just fixed I can say this because my dad he doesn't listen to my podcast. I've just fixed him up on a date and he's 72. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, well, kind of me and it was actually one of my mum's friends. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So he always inspires me to keep going.
That is so inspiring, but that really is. That's lovely. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So what's next for Ciara Daly?
Oh, jeez.
I know.
I knew that was coming. My problem is I would need to clone myself.
I say that about myself too. I think it's an ADHD.
Yeah, definitely. But
if I could clone myself, I could do all this.
I have so many things that I want to do. Like, and this is the other thing why maybe being single is right for me right now, because I've so much that I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm bringing out new products for my makeup business.
Exciting.
Which I'm so excited about. So they're hopefully going to be here for Christmas. I always bloody leave it to the last minute and then I'm stressed out. But anyway, but then there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes for the Happy Face.
Brilliant.
Path. So it's splitting my energy, but I'm trying to kind of navigate the two. And also to freaking just enjoy myself.
Yeah. And
go on retreats. Like I'm going over with Steph to Happy Place, to Fern Cotton's Happy Place, to be inspired. Like amazing. How to do it. Going to the Manifest, the Roxy Novosi seminar down in Dublin. I'm sure I'll get a wee plant medicine retreat through in there. And then obviously the Joe Dispenza retreat in Switzerland at the start of the new year. So
Brilliant.
Yeah, life is good.
So where's the best place to find you, Ciara, on social media?
Well, obviously there's...
Because you're like me, you have other different avenues.
So the best place to find me is on Instagram is Ciara Daly Official. Obviously, I do have a page for Ciara Daly Makeup and also Happy Face NI. But if you want to reach out to me for anything, Ciara Daly Official, or on Facebook's Ciara Daly Makeup, or the website. Or call in and see me and work, call in, get
Brilliant.
your makeup done.
Brilliant. Yeah. And you can listen to Ciara's podcast or any of the podcasts on shecantransformations.com. And I have a wee bunch of flowers for Ciara.
I love flowers.
Thank you for coming on. And you've been amazing. We could talk for hours. We're really good.
This is it. You see, you found your
So,
tribe. You found your tribe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
You were brilliant.